This car is all new inside and out, a completely new vehicle architecture. And you know, we feel very honored that the Generation 1 Volt was a 3-peat JD Power Appeal Award winner. So you have told us you were some of the most satisfied owners in the industry. And so the first motivation we had was to keep you all very satisfied. And think about it, you know, that's a big risk. And so with this clean sheet opportunity, the first thing we did to figure out the recipe on how do you go do an all-new Volt is we listened to exactly what you had to say. Many of you are very active on social media. We do listen, sometimes we respond. We email with many of you. We know a lot of you. We have a tremendous number of employee Volt owners. So, you know, we take all that input that you give us. We combine it with what we know from OnStar about how you use your vehicle. You know, we're fortunate that you know, you let us know how you use your car, so we could match them exactly what does the recipe need to make the second generation Volt. And so it turned out to be a little simpler than we thought. And you told us what you loved, and so we said we're going to give you more of what you love. And you told us what you thought we could have done a little bit differently. And I hope as I walk through this, through a few details, and then you take a look at the car, you'll see that we absolutely listened to you. So let's talk about the exterior design for starters. You know, your message was very clear. You wanted something sleek and sporty. You didn't want to stand out and scream, I'm electric or I'm different. You just wanted a car that looked good. And so our design team, I think, created a car that's absolutely beautiful. You know, you can see along the body side, the sculpting matches really the theme of Chevrolet. As you walk around and look at the rest of the display here, you'll see that the sculpted body sides are very much a theme of Chevrolet. You know, when you walk around the front of the car, you can see it has a little bit of attitude, a little bit of aggressiveness and sportiness, and that's by intention. You know, and it also comes at you in a way that's very aerodynamic. You can see this negaduct from the front when you look across the front of the car. You know, you can see the grille is a bit reminiscent of the Generation 1 car. I mean, we do have a few cues in the vehicle that we carried forward. And so there's this sort of technical pattern on the front, and still the bright grille. It now has, you know, behind it, active aero shutters to also help us really manage the aerodynamics of the vehicle. You know, our John Gaffaro, our lead designer, always says there's a little bit of Corvette in every Chevrolet. And I think when you start to look around this floor now, and Chevrolet's going to come out with 5 new products this year. You're going to see a little bit of Volt in each of those products, and so our team feels pretty good about that. The cue in the front from the Generation 1 Volt is still there. You know, all new LED lighting. You know, our philosophy with the lighting is anything that's on all the time, we want it to be the most efficient, and so you'll see it as LED. You can see the base of the windshield here. We kind of kept the notion of the Volt badging in the same location with the gloss black background. You know, I hope when you look at the car, you step back and you say it has a bit more of a premium look to it. We definitely had that in our sights. You know, if you look at the front fascia, the rocker panels, and then when you get around to the back of the car, you don't see any more of the gray plastic that you had before. It's all, you know, very premium gloss black. You know, I think that when you walk around to the back of the vehicle is where you have kind of the most reminiscent of the Generation 1 car in the styling features. The rear spoiler now is very integrated. I think this was a great work by the design and engineering team. So still the spoiler effect, but very seamless and integrated. It does have, this car is black, so you can't tell what's black and what's not on a car with color, but you'll have the black and the tail of the car. Beautiful lamps. I mean, when you get a chance, come take a closer look at them. Lamps are very complex, and so when you look inside these, you can see how many different elements and pieces it takes to make the beautiful lighting, which really becomes a signature of the vehicle. I should have mentioned when I was at the front of the car, it does have its own lighting signature. There are daytime running lamps, LED, that are low in the front fascia, that'll really give the car, you know, a signature, so you know when it's a Volt that you're passing on the road. When we talk about the interior, we got a lot of strong messages from many of you on the interior. You wanted something simplified and contemporary. And so that's what we did, and it's, try to show you as much as we can here. So, very contemporary. We went with softer colors to give you some comfort and warm feeling. If you look at the controls in the center of the car, now very much more intuitive. You know, you told us that, hey, there's certain things that we just want to knob. You know, if you want to turn down the volume on the radio, if you want to turn down the fan on the heating and air conditioning, if you want to turn up the temperature. So those things that you said you used most and you wanted an easy way to change them, you know, we gave you knobs and switches. And then the infotainment system, which is in the screen in the center stack of the car, 8-inch, full color, and very intuitive. You know, when you see it, you'll see icons that look like apps that you're familiar with, and so I think you'll find it very natural to use and operate. You know, and I should have first started with, there are accommodations for 5 passengers. So you will see 3 belts in the back. Because what most of you told us was, we don't always have passengers, and we certainly don't always have 5, but sometimes we need it. And so for those of you that need it, it's there, and you can make use of it. You know, in addition, we still retain the fold down. I guess they locked me out. I think I'm not trustworthy. But, just kidding. So we still retain the full flat seats. I don't know, I drive a Volt, obviously, and sometimes I say I use it like my truck, because you can haul a lot in there. If you fold those seats flat, there's probably going to be occasional bag of mulch or 2 or 3 in my car. You know, we changed the antenna away from the whip style to this shark fin style, again, to be sleek and aerodynamic, and really improve the aesthetics. Another area on the interior that we really heard from you loudly and clearly on was the comfort and the comfort in, for yourselves in the front seats or for passengers in the back. So we made a number of changes in that area. We have put higher powered electric heaters in the car. The integrated front seat heaters are still present. And along with that, you now have available heated steering wheel and available rear seat heat. So I think any passenger, any position is going to feel quite comfortable. So I hope in some of my comments you're getting the impression that you told us and we listened, because that really was the goal that we had here. What you can't see, that's probably the most intriguing and interesting part of the car, is the propulsion system is all new. And it's all new because I started this conversation with, we wanted to give you more of what you love. What did you tell us you love? You told us you love range, so we wanted to give you more range. You told us the car was fun to drive. You liked that instantaneous acceleration, you know, that sort of kick in the pants that you get when you step on the accelerator. So we're giving you more acceleration. You told us you liked the smoothness and the quietness, and so we made it smoother and quieter. And that's, how do we do it? That's enabled by an all-new propulsion system. So it's an all-new battery with an optimized cell chemistry and an all-new cell design or cell package. So we have 20% more energy density by volume in the cell, which means the battery is physically looks about the same size. But instead of 17.1 kilowatt hours like the first generation of car is right now, it's 18.4. So that's where you're going to get 50 miles. You're going to get more than 400 miles of total range for those that use the range extender. But we know most of you don't. Did you know that on average, most of you take about 80% of your trips all electrically, which means each time you get behind the wheel of the car, it's an all electric trip. And you know, when we designed the first generation car, we made a promise, right? That the Volt would be an EV without range anxiety. And I think that notion that you're doing about 80% of your trips all electrically proves that. That you are using it as an electric car, but you do have that, you know, beauty of the backup plan, which is the range extender. The range extender is all new. It's slightly bigger. It's 1.5 liters instead of 1.4. You know, why did we do that? We did it, number one, it's more efficient. So more efficient, you're going to get better fuel economy for those of you that use fuel, about 41 miles per gallon. on regular fuel. And we did it also to help with NV, noise and vibration, to make the car quieter. Because now, for those times that you do use the range extender, you know, it's a little bit bigger, we can run at a lower RPM, it can be a little bit quieter, kind of in the background so that you don't notice it. The electric drive itself. The electric drive is all new electric motors. We took about 100 pounds out of the electric drive system. And we did that and also gave you more performance. So you're going to have about 30% more improvement in 0 to 30 acceleration, which is kind of that kick in the pants that you feel. You'll see that as about a half-second improvement on a 0 to 60 basis, but still get, you know, more efficiency, more range, and better fuel economy. So I touched on a number of things that I think really are at the heart of what you told us you want. The styling inside and out, the intuitiveness of the controls in the infotainment system and the interior, the improved creature comforts in the cabin. And lastly, I want to talk about some of the charging improvements, because that's an area that, you know, we listen. So the data that we have says most of you, over half of you, are charging off 110 volts. And to be honest, that was surprising to us. We would never have guessed that in the beginning, but half of you are charging off 110 volts. And since you're getting 80% of your trips all electrically, it seemed like a pretty good recipe. So we came up with about 6, I think it is, kind of just improvements to the charging experience. And it starts with, in the front, in the center, where you used to have the little dome, right, that showed you if the car was charging or you're going to have delayed charging. Now, it will indicate to you how charged is the car. You know, is it somewhere between 0 and 25%, 25 and 50, etc. So you'll be able to do that. One of the features that I think is the greatest is those of you that are charging on 110, we have location-based charging. So now, if you want to choose 12 amps to charge, so if you don't charge off 110, that might not make any sense to you, but those of you that do know what I'm talking about, we have location-based charging, so the car will know when you're at home, right? You can, through GPS, we know when the car's home. You can preset if you want the car to charge off 8 amps or 12 amps, and you never have to touch it again. And so that should be a real convenience for those of you charging on 110. We're going to have an illuminated charge port available, so to provide, you know, well, number one, it looks cool, but two, it, you know, provides some extra light when you're charging and it's dark. Let's see, I have to walk, there's so many things I have to walk around. That's 3. We have in the back, and I really wish I could open this, the trunk of the car, because if you're charging off 110, you're using that travel port charger. And while in the first generation car, we thought we had a great idea, you know, you could wrap it up all nicely and you can lift the load floor and tuck it in there very precisely. The reality is that probably wasn't very convenient. So we changed it. And now what you'll see is a bin on the side of the rear of the car. You'll see a bin on the side of the rear of the car, and you can still wrap the cord up nicely and put it in there if you want, but if you don't, you can just gather it up, throw it in there. You don't have to lift the load floor and make it much more convenient. And somehow I feel like I'm forgetting one of the great charging, other charging improvements, but we'll save that, I guess, for another time. So with that, again, I thank all of our Generation 1 Volt owners. We feel very honored to have you in our clan. We appreciate your feedback and really can't wait to get you into a second generation car. So thank you.